everybody, I'm Jerry Miculek, and one of the questions I've been asked a lot lately is about concealed carry. Should I carry with a hot chamber, an empty chamber? All these questions about firearm situation, how to carry. So I'm gonna kind of give you some advice. I'm by no means an expert when it comes to concealed carry, but I do listen to soldiers and police officers and individuals who have used firearms for that purpose, and a couple of things come to mind, so I'm gonna kind of share it with you. What I'm going to do, this is one thing you want to do. Most people who carry a little handgun like this do carry it in a holster in the pocket. And that's the way to do it. It conceals the trigger guard, and it helps prevent something from accidentally firing the pistol. But what you want to realize, most small guns like this Smith & Wesson 380, the trigger is actually the safety. It's long. It's a relatively long trigger pull. Make sure it's empty. So it takes a lot to make this thing fire. It's just not going to go off by itself, and that's what you want on a concealed carry gun. So what we're going to do, I'm not going to use the holster. We're just going to do a couple of drills. I got my little target downrange. The rule of thumb in law enforcement, if you talk to most law enforcement instructors, it's going to be 3 shots, 3 yards, 3 seconds worth of engagement. And what else you want to realize is they usually have about a 33% hit ratio, so 6 out of 10 times they actually miss the target. So I'm here on the range, I'm all relaxed. I'm going to have my hand on the pistol, finger on the trigger guard, and on the timer I'm going to produce this little 380 and shoot that target for you one time. And this is I'm relaxed. I know it's going to happen. So you have to realize, of course, if you were to ever use one of these in its intended purpose, you're going to be pretty jacked up, and it's going to catch you by surprise. So finger out the trigger guard, go ahead and chamber on. I'm going to put it in my pocket. I don't have my shooting glasses on, and that's just the way it is when you're on the street. I'm going to be 65 here pretty soon, so this front sight, you really not much to look at anymore. So I've got it in my pocket here in the optimum shoot position, finger out the trigger guard, and on the timer, let's go ahead and shoot. Here we go. All right, I knew everything was going to go my way. I had a 106 draw, make the shot, pretty center of mass there. It's about 3 yards, pretty good. But then again, I'm relaxed. I know this is going to happen. So we're going to take the same pistol. We'll go ahead and drop the slide, show you that it's empty. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to produce it with an empty chamber, go ahead and charge it, and try to make the same shot and see what kind of a time factor we have there. So we've got the same thing here. Got a round in the mag, finger out of the trigger guard. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the pocket here. I'm just about perfect here. I got my timer. Here we go. First shot was a 106 before. Let's go ahead and do it. All right, not too shabby. Let's take a look. It was a 162. So I knew all this was going to happen. So at 0.6 of a second, doesn't sound like a lot to the average guy, but if I had my pistol in my hand and you give me 0.6 of a second, I'm going to put a few holes in you, probably about 4 or 5 inches distance. So usually, and what you want to realize, this is one time in your life, it's way better to give than it is to receive. So the safety aspect is up to you, how you want to carry it. But to give you another idea, what you want to think about. We've got a totally empty pistol here. I'm going to strike it out and show you we got an empty chamber, no magazine. Okay, we're empty. So I have it in my pocket, or I have it in my whatever position I'm carrying this pistol. I have an empty chamber, and I'm going to my automobile. All of a sudden, this guy's coming at me with a razor, and he's slashing at me. Best I can do is try to protect my throat or whatever, or he's got a club or a brick and he's hammering me in the ground, so I don't want to give him a clear shot at my head. And I'm doing this, and all of a sudden I draw my concealed carry pistol, and oh man, I gotta load this thing. So what do? I try to strike it on my body. I can't kickstart it. The sight isn't designed for a kickstart if I had that mentality to do that. So what do? I come down and rack the slide. So what happens there? I don't know. That's just one of the scenarios that could happen. Maybe a wiser choice would choose your platform a little better. This is a M&P shield. It's a 9. It's got a set of high-vis H3 tritium sights. It's a fiber optic with the tritium insert, so it glows day or night. It's what I carry on my guns. But what I come to expect from this is it also has a little bit of a kickstart feature. We're empty. Show you that we got an empty chamber, no magazine. Strike it out a few times. All right. So should I start with an empty chamber and I'm in that same situation? I draw and I need to kickstart it. I can strike it on my clothes, my belt, or whatever. Get it back in the fight. Make the problem go away. So something to think about on self-defense shooting. Short period of time, very close ranges, high intensity. Police officers miss 6 out of 10 times, and they're trained, and you probably have not gone through the same level of training. It's one thing I always do with equipment is go out and play with it, learn the ins and outs of it. The Israelis, after the Second War, when they were forming their armed services, they had their manual of arms on a handgun was to draw and rack to slide. I think mostly the reason for that was they had handguns from around the world. They were just buying anything they could to supply the troops. So you had guns that had decockers on the slide like this, and they had guns that had slide-mounted decockers, say, or whatever. So what they did on their troops, they taught them when they draw, every time you draw it, go ahead and rack it and put it in the fight. And when you finish with it, go ahead and unload it, put it back in the holster, get back in the same mode. So if you're going to carry, think about the options. Do go out and train. Finger out the trigger guard. I can't say that enough, especially on these deep concealment pistols like this. If you got it in the trigger guard and you pull it out and it snags on your pocket, not gonna be a pretty day. So always think about safety when you train. Take your time, go through the motions. I'm not an expert by any means. Take nothing I said here with a grain of salt and go out and try it for yourself. Train safely, have fun.